The clock read 6:03 p.m. when Alina Rodriguez's world finally cracked. She sat at her desk, eyes burning, shoulders knotted with 3 years of tension. The office tower hummed with air conditioning, sterile and cold, just like the man whose door had just opened behind her. Heavy footsteps. She didn't turn around. The Morgan report. Jackson Pierce's voice cut through the silence. Like a blade, deep, commanding. The kind of voice that built empires and crushed dissent. "On your desk since 4, Alina said, her tone flat. Along with the quarterly projections and the Singapore budget, he made a sound that might have been acknowledgement. Alina looked up. Jackson Pierce was unfairly handsome. Dark hair, sharp green eyes, a jawline that could cut stone. At 34, he'd built Pierce Global Investments from nothing into a billion-dollar empire. Magazines called him a visionary. She called him a tyrant. "I need you in early tomorrow." 6 a.m., her stomach dropped. "Tomorrow is Saturday. I requested it off 3 months ago. You approved it. Plans change." He crossed his arms. "The Tanaka deal is moving faster than expected. If we don't have the proposal ready by Monday, we lose $200 million. Tomorrow is my sister's wedding. I'm the maid of honor." His expression didn't flicker. "Then explain to your sister that your career takes priority. Be here at 6. Don't be late." He turned away. Something inside Alina snapped. "No." Jackson stopped. Slowly, he turned back, eyebrows raised. "Excuse me?" She stood, hands trembling, voice steady. "I said no. I'm not coming in tomorrow. You approved my leave. My family needs me. Your family." The word dripped with contempt. "I pay you a 6-figure salary, Alina. I pay for your insurance, your retirement, your comfortable life. That money comes with expectations." "Expectations?" "Yes. Slavery." "No." The words escaped before she could stop them. "I work 60, sometimes 70 hours a week. I've canceled vacations, missed birthdays, skipped holidays. But I am not missing my sister's wedding because you can't plan ahead properly." The office went silent. A few remaining employees pretended not to listen. Jackson's jaw tightened. He stepped closer, voice dropping to a dangerous quiet. "You're being insubordinate. I'm being human. Something you might try occasionally." His eyes flashed. "If you're not here tomorrow at 6 a.m., don't bother coming back on Monday." The ultimatum hung between them like smoke. Alina reached for her purse. She unplugged her phone charger, closed her laptop, gathered the photo of her and Isabella, the coffee mug from her mother. It's a small succulent that had somehow survived in this sunless place. "What do you think you're doing?" Uncertainty crept into his voice. "I'm leaving." She met his eyes directly. "You gave me a choice. Obey or leave. I choose to leave." She walked toward the elevator. One step, then another. "Alina." The way he said her name made her pause. Not a command. Something else. Almost pleading. "You can't just walk out." She turned to face him one last time. "Yes, I can. I just did. For 3 years, I've been the best assistant you've ever had. I've made your life easier in 1,000 ways you don't even notice. I've anticipated your needs, fixed your mistakes, covered for your terrible people skills. And not once have you treated me like I matter. Not once have you seen me as anything more than a tool for your convenience." "That's not true." The protest sounded weak. "It is true. And I'm done. I'm done being invisible. I'm done being unappreciated. I'm done with you." The elevator dinged. Doors slid open. Alina stepped inside and pressed the button for the lobby. As the doors began to close, she saw Jackson lunge forward, hand raised. Too late, the doors sealed shut. She was alone in the descending elevator, her reflection staring back from polished steel. Her eyes were bright, her shoulders straighter. She looked like someone who'd just done something terrifying and liberating all at once. The elevator reached the lobby. Alina walked out into warm evening air. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jackson. 2 words. "Come back." She deleted it without responding and headed toward the subway. Tomorrow, she'd worry about rent, about finding a new job, about all the practical concerns of unemployment. Tonight she had a rehearsal dinner to attend and a sister to celebrate. She didn't look back at the gleaming tower. She didn't see Jackson standing at his office window 40 floors up. Watching her disappear into the crowd, his hand pressed against the glass, his expression more lost than she'd ever seen it. For the first time in 3 years, Alina Rodriguez walked away from her job with her head held high. Everything was about to change, because Jackson Pierce had just realized something that terrified him more than losing any business deal. He couldn't imagine his life without her in it. The wedding was beautiful. Isabella glowed in white silk. Carlos couldn't stop smiling, and Alina stood beside her sister as maid of honor, holding the bouquet during vows, giving a toast that made everyone laugh and cry. She danced. She celebrated. She was present for every moment. But in the quiet spaces between joy, her mind kept drifting back. To Jackson's face when she walked away, to the way he'd said her name, to the text message she'd deleted. "You seem distracted," Isabella said, pulling her aside during a slow song. "What happened?" "I quit my job on Friday." Isabella's eyes went wide. "You what? Why didn't you tell me?" "Because today is about you and Carlos, not about my drama." Alina forced a smile. "I'll figure it out." "Did he do something?" "Because if Jackson Pierce hurt you?" "No, nothing like that." Alina squeezed her sister's hand. "He just finally pushed too far, and I pushed back." But it wasn't just that. Something had shifted in that moment. In Jackson's voice, in his eyes, she'd seen a crack in his armor, a glimpse of something vulnerable underneath. Sunday passed in a haze. Monday arrived with gray skies and uncertainty. Alina woke at her usual time out of habit and remembered she had nowhere to go. She made coffee, opened her laptop, stared at job listings without seeing them. Her phone rang at 8:30. Unknown number, Alina Rodriguez speaking. "It's Jackson." Her heart jumped. "How did you get this number?" "It's in your personnel file." A pause. "Can we talk?" "There's nothing to talk about. I quit." "You accepted it." "I never accepted anything." "You walked out in the middle of an ultimatum." His voice was different, less commanding, almost uncertain. "Just give me 30 minutes. Coffee at the place on 5th Street. 10 o'clock. She should say no. Should cut ties cleanly, but curiosity won. One coffee. That's it." She hung up and immediately second-guessed the decision. At 9:45, she found herself getting dressed. Simple blue dress. Minimal makeup. Professional, but not trying too hard. Jackson was already at a corner table when she arrived. 2 coffee cups in front of him. He stood when he saw her, a gesture of politeness she'd never witnessed in 3 years. He looked different. Still impeccably dressed, but there were shadows under his eyes. His usual composure seemed slightly off. "You came." He sounded genuinely relieved. "I said I would." Lena sat, wrapping her hands around the coffee cup. It was exactly how she liked it. Cream and 1 sugar. He'd remembered. "You have 28 minutes left." His mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Direct as always. He leaned forward, green eyes intense. "I was wrong. About Friday. About the way I've treated you for 3 years. I was completely, inexcusably wrong." Jackson Pierce apologizing was like witnessing a solar eclipse. Rare and slightly unbelievable. "I'm listening. When you walked into that elevator, I realized something." He ran a hand through his hair, messing up the perfect style. "This company runs because of you. I function because of you. You're not just my assistant, Alina. You're the reason everything works. And I've taken you for granted every single day, as you have. I want you to come back. Not because I need an assistant, but because I need you specifically." He pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. Alina opened it cautiously. Inside was a formal offer letter. Her eyes widened as she read. Promotion to Chief of Staff, 50% salary increase. Equity in the company, her own office. A clause guaranteeing she'd never be asked to work on pre-approved personal days without at least 2 weeks' notice. "This is generous," she said slowly. It's what you've deserved for 3 years. What I should have offered a long time ago? Max. Jackson leaned back. But I need to be honest about something else. When you walked away Friday, it wasn't just about losing a good employee. It felt like losing something more important. Alina's pulse quickened. Jackson, let me finish, please. He took a breath. I've spent 3 years keeping you at a distance. Being harsh, being cold. I told myself it was professional, that it was necessary to maintain boundaries. But the truth is, I was protecting myself from what? From this? He gestured between them. From the fact that somewhere along the way, you became the most important person in my life, and that terrified me. So I pushed you away. I treated you badly to keep you at arm's length. Because the alternative, actually acknowledging what I feel, that was too dangerous. Alina's hands trembled around her coffee cup. What exactly are you saying? I'm saying that when I watch you work, I'm in awe of how brilliant you are. I'm saying that your voice is the first thing I want to hear every morning. I'm saying that the thought of you working for someone else, being in someone else's office, makes me want to burn the business world to the ground. He leaned forward again, voice dropping. I'm saying that I have feelings for you, Alina. Real, complicated, terrifying feelings. The coffee shop noise faded to background static. Alina stared at him, searching for manipulation or tricks. But all she saw was raw honesty. You've been terrible to me for 3 years, she said quietly. You made me cry more times than I can count. And now, you're telling me you have feelings? That's supposed to make everything okay? No. Jackson shook his head firmly. Nothing makes the past 3 years okay. I can't undo the way I treated you, but I can do better going forward. I can be better. If you give me the chance, Alina stood abruptly. I need to think. Take all the time you need. Jackson stood too. The offer stands regardless of anything personal. You've earned that position based purely on merit. But Alina, he paused. I meant what I said. All of it. She grabbed her purse and walked out. Mind spinning. Jackson Pierce had feelings for her nightmare boss, who'd made her life miserable. Had just confessed that he'd been fighting attraction for 3 years, and against every logical thought in her head. Part of her wanted to believe him. 2 weeks changed everything. Alina accepted the job offer. The terms were exceptional, and she'd earned every bit of it. But she kept Jackson at a professional distance, processing everything he'd said. Jackson transformed. He said please and thank you. He asked about her weekends. He complimented her work genuinely and publicly. He trusted her judgment on office operations. It was like working for an entirely different person. Then Tyler Hamilton arrived. The new director of marketing was exactly the kind of man Alina would normally notice. Handsome in a classic way, warm brown eyes, an easy smile that put everyone at ease. He made a point of introducing himself to the whole team, remembering names, asking thoughtful questions. You must be Alina, he said, stopping by her new office on his first day. I've heard incredible things about you. Jackson says you're the real power behind Pierce Global. He's exaggerating. Alina smiled despite herself. Welcome to the company, Tyler. Hey, I'm still learning my way around. Any chance you'd have time this week to grab lunch and give me the insider's guide to how things really work here? Sure, I can do that. Great. His smile widened. How about tomorrow? From across the open workspace, Jackson watched the exchange. His jaw tightened. His fingers drummed against his desk, a rare tell of agitation. Lunch with Tyler was easy. He was funny, charming, genuinely interested in her opinions. He listened when she talked about the company culture, asked smart questions, made her laugh with stories from his previous job. So, Tyler said over coffee, I have to ask, what's the deal with you and Jackson? Alina blinked. What do you mean? Come on. I've been here 3 days, and even I can see the way he looks at you. Like you're the only person in the room who matters. We have a professional relationship. That's all if you say so. Tyler grinned. But for what it's worth, if a woman like you were single and interested, I definitely want to know. Heat crept up Alina's neck. Tyler, just putting it out there. He held up his hands. No pressure. But think about it. That evening, Jackson appeared in her office doorway just as she was packing up. How was lunch? His tone was carefully neutral. Fine. Tyler's nice. Nice. Jackson stepped inside, closing the door behind him. That's the word you'd use? What's this about, Jackson? You're free to date whoever you want. I have no claim on you. His words said one thing. His clenched fists said another. But Tyler Hamilton has a reputation. A reputation. He's been at 4 companies in 5 years. At each one, he's gotten involved with someone in a position of influence, used that connection to advance his career, then moved on when he got what he needed. Alina stood, anger flashing. You think I can't see through someone like that? You think I'm that naive? No, I think he's good at what he does. And I think... Jackson stopped himself. Say it. I think watching him flirt with you is the hardest thing I've done in my entire life. The words came out raw, unfiltered. I have no right to feel this way. I know that. But it's killing me, Alina. She stared at him. At the vulnerability in his eyes, at the way his perfect composure had finally crumbled. You can't have it both ways, she said quietly. You can't push me away for 3 years and then get jealous when someone else shows interest. I know. You're right. I'm sorry. He turned to leave, then paused at the door. Just be careful. That's all I'm asking. The next week, Tyler asked her to dinner. She said yes. It was petty, maybe. A way to prove to herself and to Jackson that she wasn't waiting for him, wasn't hung up on his confession. But as she sat across from Tyler at an upscale Italian restaurant, laughing at his jokes, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Ask him about Jennifer Chen, his last company. Then decide if you still trust him. Alina looked up at Tyler, who was pouring more wine, his smile easy and warm. Tyler, she said slowly, tell me about your last job. Why did you really leave? His smile faltered for just a second. I told you. I wanted a new challenge. And Jennifer Chen? What's her story? The color drained from his face. Who told you about Jennifer? Does it matter? Tyler set down his wine glass. His charming facade cracked. Look, what happened there was complicated. Try me. Jennifer and I dated. She was the CFO. When things ended, she made it difficult for me to stay. That's all. That's not what I heard. Alina leaned forward. I heard you used her access to company financials to make yourself look good to the board. I heard you sabotaged her project so yours would shine brighter. I heard that when she found out and confronted you, you twisted the story to make her look unstable. Tyler's expression hardened. Whoever told you that is lying, am I? She stood, grabbing her purse. I think this dinner is over, Alina. Wait, but she was already walking out. In her car, she pulled out her phone, stared at the unknown number, then texted back, How did you know? The reply came instantly, because I did my homework before hiring him. I wanted to give him a chance to prove me wrong. He didn't. Come to my office. We need to talk. It was Jackson. Alina sat in her car, hands gripping the steering wheel, heart racing. He'd been right about Tyler. He'd warned her. He'd protected her, but he'd also hired Tyler in the first place. Put him in her path. Created a situation where she'd have to see him flirt, have to watch him try. Was it a test? A manipulation? Or something else entirely? Only one way to find out. She started the car and drove back to Pierce Global. The office was dark, except for Jackson's corner suite. Alina rode the elevator up, her reflection ghosting in the polished doors. Anger and confusion warred inside her chest. When the doors opened, she walked straight to his office. Jackson stood by the window, looking out at the city lights. He turned when she entered. You hired him, Alina said without preamble. You knew what he was, and you hired him anyway. Why? Jackson's expression was unreadable. Close the door, she did. The silence between them felt heavy, charged. I hired Tyler Hamilton because I needed to know Jackson said finally. Needed to know if what I felt for you was real or just proximity? If you'd fall for someone charming and easy, or if he stopped, or if what? Or if I still had a chance. Crossed the room, stopping a few feet from her. I thought maybe if I saw you with someone else, I could let you go. Move on. But it had the opposite effect. Watching him look at you, make you smile, it made me realize I'd rather burn everything I've built than lose you. So you used me? Used him. Manipulated the whole situation. Yes. No denial. No excuses. I did. And I'm not sorry. Alina's breath caught. How can you say that? Because it worked. You saw through him. You came here. Jackson took another step closer. You came to me. I came here to tell you that you're still the same man who hurt me for 3 years. You just hide it better now. Maybe. His voice dropped. Or maybe I'm a man who's finally done lying to himself about what he wants. And what do you want, Jackson? You. The word hung in the air between them. I want you. In every way, professional, personal, I want to wake up next to you. I want to fight with you. I want to build something real with you. And I'm willing to burn every bridge, sacrifice every principle, do whatever it takes to make that happen. Alina's hands trembled. You can't just decide that and expect me to fall in line. I'm not expecting anything. I'm asking. Begging if that's what it takes. He reached out, then dropped his hand, as if afraid to touch her. Tell me you don't feel this too. Tell me I'm alone in this and I'll walk away. I'll sell the company, move to another city, make it so you never have to see me again. But if there's even a chance, stop, Alina's voice cracked. Stop making this sound like some grand romantic gesture. You hurt me, Jackson. You made me feel worthless. And now you want me to believe you've changed because you're jealous? Not jealous. Terrified. His composure finally shattered. I'm terrified because for the first time in my life, something matters more than success, more than money, more than any deal or empire. You matter more, and I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be the man you deserve, but I want to try. Shh, she stared at him. At the cracks in his armor, at the vulnerability he'd never shown anyone. I need time, she whispered. Take it. Take all the time you need. Got halfway to the door, Alina stopped, but didn't turn around. I love you. The words were quiet, certain. I think I've loved you since the first day you walked into my office and looked at me. Like I was just another person, not a god or a monster. Just a man. I was too much of a coward to admit it. But I'm admitting it now. Alina closed her eyes. Tears burned behind her lids. She walked out without responding. The next morning, everything fell apart. Alina arrived at work to find the office in chaos. People clustered in groups, whispering. Security guards moved through the floor with purpose. What's going on? She asked Marcus from accounting. They arrested him an hour ago. Apparently he's been selling company secrets to Pierce Global's competitors for months. The FBI's involved. Lena's blood ran cold. What? They found evidence on his computer. Encrypted files. Communication with rival firms. Jackson called it in himself after discovering it last night. Last night, after their conversation, Alina walked to Jackson's office in a daze. He was on the phone, looking exhausted. When he saw her, he ended the call. You knew, she said. Last night, you already knew. Yes, and you didn't tell me. You let me walk out of here thinking she couldn't finish the sentence. I let you walk out because you needed space. Not because Tyler was a corporate spy. How long have you known? Jackson's jaw tightened. About his past with Jennifer Chen? Since before I hired him. About the corporate espionage. 3 days. 3 days. Alina's voice rose. You've known for 3 days that he was betraying the company and you let him keep getting close to me? I had FBI surveillance on him the entire time. You were never in danger. That's not the point. She slammed her hands on his desk. You used me as bait, Jackson. You put me in his path. Let him think he was winning. All so you could catch him. And you didn't tell me? Didn't trust me enough to include me in the plan. I was protecting you. No, you were protecting yourself. Making sure I'd see him as the villain and you as the hero. Tears of rage burned in her eyes. This whole thing, the confession, the vulnerability, the I love you, was it all just another manipulation? No. Jackson stood, genuine panic crossing his face. Alina, no. Everything I said last night was real. How can I believe you? How can I believe anything you say when you've proven over and over that you'll sacrifice anyone? Use anyone, manipulate anything to get what you want? Because you're the one thing I won't sacrifice. His voice broke. You're the line I won't cross. Yes, I used Tyler's investigation to show you who he really was. Yes, I should have told you. But what I feel for you, that's real. That's the only real thing in my life. Alina grabbed her bag. I can't do this. I can't be with someone who sees people as chess pieces. Even if one of those pieces is his own heart. Alina, please. I'm done, Jackson. For real this time, she walked out. This time, she didn't look back. This time, the elevator doors closed on Jackson Pierce standing alone in his office. The empire he'd built suddenly feeling like a prison. And the only person who'd ever made him feel human walking out of his life for good, or so she thought. 3 hours later, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her press accept. Alina Rodriguez. A woman's voice? Professional? Concerned? Yes. This is Presbyterian Hospital. Jackson Pierce listed you as his emergency contact. He's been in an accident. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and fear. Alina ran through automatic doors, past the reception desk, following the room number the nurse had given her. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Room 347. She pushed through the door. Jackson lay in the hospital bed, pale but conscious. His left arm was in a cast. Bandages wrapped around his head. A monitor beeped steadily beside him. You came. His voice was rough, surprised. What happened? She stayed by the door, afraid that if she got closer, she'd lose her resolve. Car accident. Ran a red light. Wasn't paying attention. Tried to sit up, winced. The other driver's fine. Just some bruises. I got the worst of it. Why wasn't you paying attention? His eyes met hers. Because I was thinking about you. About what I'd done. How I'd lost you again. Lena closed her eyes. Jackson, there's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you from the beginning. Took a shaky breath. The reason I hired Tyler Hamilton wasn't just to test you or to prove a point. I hired him because he approached me 6 months ago with an offer. Said he'd give me intelligence on our competitors if I gave him a job and access to you. Alina's eyes snapped open. What? He'd been watching the company. Watching you. He knew you were valuable to me even if I wouldn't admit it. So he tried to use you as leverage. I hired him to keep him close, to monitor him, to make sure he never got the chance to hurt you or the company. Jackson's voice cracked, but I handled it wrong. I should have told you. Should have trusted you. Instead, I played games. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She moved closer, finally. Stood beside his bed. Why didn't you tell me this before? Pride. Fear. The same reasons I pushed you away for 3 years. He reached for her hand with his good arm. She didn't pull away. I've spent my whole life building walls, Alina, protecting myself. My mother left when I was 8. My father drank himself to death by the time I was 15. I learned early that trusting people, loving people, it only leads to pain. So I built this empire and told myself that money and success were enough. Tears slid down Alina's cheeks. Jackson, but then you walked into my office 3 years ago and everything changed. You were brilliant and kind, and you didn't worship me like everyone else. You challenged me, made me better. And I fell in love with you so gradually I didn't even realize it was happening. By the time I understood what you meant to me, I'd already treated you so badly, I didn't think I deserved a chance. You didn't, she whispered. I know, but I'm asking for one anyway. Not because I deserve it, but because I can't survive without you. His hand tightened around hers. I'm broken, Alina. I'm damaged, and I'm going to mess this up 100 more times. But I swear to you, I will spend the rest of my life trying to be the man you deserve. I'll go to therapy. I'll sell the company if you want. I'll do whatever it takes. Alina looked at him. Really looked. At the vulnerability in his eyes. At the way he was breaking himself open for her. At the man beneath the armor. I don't want you to sell the company, she said quietly. I want you to learn how to be a better person, a better partner. And I want you to understand that love isn't about control or manipulation or grand gestures. It's about trust, respect, showing up every day and choosing each other. I can do that. Hope flickered in his expression. If you'll let me. I'm scared, she admitted. Scared you'll hurt me again? Scared I'm making a mistake. I'm scared too. Terrified, actually. A weak smile crossed his face. But I'd rather be terrified with you than safe without you. Alina sat on the edge of his hospital bed. She took his face in her hands, careful of the bandages. We do this, she said. We do it right. No more lies. No more manipulation. Complete honesty, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I promise. And therapy. For both of us. We've both got damage to work through. Done. And if you ever treat me the way you did those first 3 years again, I'm gone. No second chances. No grand speeches. Just gone. Understood. His eyes were steady, sincere. I love you, Alina, and I'm going to prove it every single day for the rest of our lives. She leaned forward and kissed him. Soft at first, then deeper. All the anger and hurt and fear and love pouring into that moment. When she pulled back, he was smiling. Really smiling. Not the cold, controlled expression she'd seen for 3 years, but something genuine and warm and almost boyish. So he said, "Does this mean you're not quitting?" She laughed despite herself. "I'm not quitting. But I am getting a better office. In a company car, and Fridays off. Done, done, and done. And you're taking me to dinner? Somewhere nice. Not to talk about work. Every week. I promise." She settled beside him, careful not to jostle his injuries. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set through the hospital window, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. It wouldn't be easy. They both knew that. There would be hard conversations and setbacks, and moments where old patterns tried to resurface, but they'd face them together. Two damaged people choosing to trust each other, to build something real from the wreckage of what had been. Alina. Jackson's voice was soft. Yeah. Thank you. For coming. For giving me another chance. For seeing past the monster I made myself into. She laced her fingers through his. You're not a monster, Jackson. You're just a man who forgot how to be human. But I think we can fix that. Together? Together. Outside, the city lights began to flicker on, one by one. And in room 347 of Presbyterian Hospital, two people who'd spent years hurting each other finally began the slow, difficult, beautiful work of healing. 3 months later, Jackson sold 20% of Pierce Global and restructured the entire company. He hired a chief operating officer to handle day-to-day operations. He started therapy twice a week. He learned to say no to after-hours work. He took Alina to dinner every Friday without fail, and slowly, painfully, joyfully, they built something neither of them had thought. POSSIBLEA, partnership based on trust. A, love based on truth. A future based on choice. Because sometimes the best love stories aren't about perfect people finding each other. They're about damaged people choosing to heal together. About walls coming down. About second chances and hard-won redemption, and about a woman who finally learned her worth and a man who finally learned what truly mattered. The end.